As you pull into camp, our Timberlane sign says, "Welcome home." And when you think of home, you think of family. For those of you that are new to camp, you're also new to a new family. Because camp, all of us together, we've created a new family here. We consider you family as part of our camp. And unfortunately, from time to time, we lose a family member. Last year at this time, we lost a very special person who was a tripper here at our camp. His name was Michael Hart, and he was just 25 years old, and he lost his life to cancer. And we waited a year to pay tribute to him. So just to hear a little bit about Michael, I'll call upon his friends Matt Shoykit and Michael Borghita.
I first met Michael in 1996. It was our second or third year at camp, and we were both B2 campers, staying for the month of August, second month. And I think instantly that summer, once we got off the bus and picked our bunks, we were right beside each other. I was on a bottom bunk, he was on the bunk beside me, and we instantly became friends. And we always slept in the bunks beside each other until we were CITs, and we remained very good friends until he passed away, but I still consider Mike to be one of my very close friends. And I always think back to what Corey and Barry say at the beginning of camp, on the first night when you look around at the people beside you, that you could be looking at someone who could become one of your closest friends, and I truly feel that about Michael. And a few weeks before he passed away, last year, I went to visit Michael in the hospital. He was very sick, and we talked about camp for almost 2 hours, all of the memories, stuff we hadn't thought of or thought about for years. And some of those memories could be when we were in B5 for one of the evening programs that we had to do. We performed an act. The movie Titanic just came out that year. So our cabin decided to reenact Titanic in gibberish. We just made up our own language. I was Jack, Mike was Rose, and we did our own act on stage for air bands. I think when we became C2Bs, we had fifth period option. Almost every single day we chose the option of sailing because we always thought it was so much fun if a bunch of us would go sailing and we would misbehave and we would get docked and get in trouble, but that was always a very good memory of mine. And when we were CITs, we went on a canoe trip together in Killarney, and the first Lord of the Rings film had just came out. And one thing that me and Mike had always done was we would go see a movie after camp. I've always found that there's some friends that you might not see that often during the year, but the second you get back to camp, it's as if nothing, it was yesterday when it was the last time you saw them. And I remember he was reading the book. I made him read Lord of the Rings that year, and we went on that canoe trip, and we would discuss it every night, and I would be quoting the movie for him and singing songs. And I know that in that time, Mike found a love for canoe tripping, and he became a canoe tripper when he was a staff member, and hopefully some of you got the privilege of going on a trip, and Mike here had that privilege, so.
Yeah, I had the privilege of taking Mike on some trips when he was a camper, as a pre-sit, and lucky enough to be on trip staff with him for 5 or 6 years. And the thing about Mike is that we all kind of have an idea in our heads of what a tripper is like, what sort of the prototypical tripper is like, and Mike really exemplified all the qualities that you think of when you think of a tripper. He was a big, strong guy. He was, when I took him on his pre-sit trip, and he was in my boat, I had to tell him to stop paddling, sometimes because we were just so far ahead of the other boats. He was a big, powerful guy, and I saw him clear portages, just picking up logs and chucking them out of the way when they were in camper's way. More importantly than that, he would really just do anything for campers to ensure the safety and the happiness of campers on trips. he would jump out of the boat into waist-deep mud just to make sure that a camper wouldn't have to get their feet wet. There was a portage in Temagami, a pre-sick girls trip that some of the unit heads here, some of the girls' unit heads here were on, and I'm sure they can remember that it was a really muddy portage, and one of the girls kept getting her legs stuck in the mud, and Mike walked pretty much an entire kilometer behind this pre-sick girl every step of the way, reaching down into the mud and yanking her foot out, and then she'd take another step and get stuck, and then he'd take another step and pull her out, and pretty much for an entire kilometer. And it was just it just went to show how he would do anything for campers. In Temagami on a Sit Boys trip, he was going down a little rapid and didn't see that there was a big tree branch sticking into the middle of the river, and at the last second he saw it, and he turned the boat out of the way so it missed the campers and they were fine, and he took a big tree branch right in the chest and knocked him over and tipped the boat. But all that mattered to him was getting the campers out of the way and that they were safe and happy. He had an amazing sense of humor. He always wrote the best trip songs, would sing them for campers in the boats. He fought really hard through all challenges that he faced on trips and in life, and he had in really his short life he had more than his fair share. But camp and tripping were always in his mind and always in his heart. When he was after he got sick, there was a short period where he was starting to get better, and he had pulled out of school for a little while. And as he was starting to get better, I saw him, and he asked me. He had already not been at camp. He had stopped coming back to camp for a summer or two, and he started talking to me about the possibility of coming back. And he gave Corey a call, and even though he was really struggling through cancer, he at the first thought of starting to get better, the first thing on his mind when he had a bit of time off was to try to get back to Timberlane and try to come and get out on canoe trips and be with campers. Just to echo something Corey said, when he was sick and after he passed away, it became very apparent that how important and how important the Camp Timberlane family is. He had visitors all the time, guys he grew up with, like Matt and his friends, and the trippers and the tripping family that he formed over the years. After he passed away, his family got visits from campers that really only knew him from spending 4 or 5 or 6 days on a canoe trip with him, and they had stories for his family about how much he touched their life in such a short time. He was really lucky to have his Timberlane family, and I think we were even luckier to have had him here, and whether or not we really realize it, we all really miss him, and camp and everything was a better place with him.
We have added a plaque to our chapel. It will sit here forever.
The plaque says, Michael Hart, as an enthusiastic camper and a passionate tripper, his sense of humor, selflessness, and strength touched all those around him. He will forever be remembered as a part of Camp Timberlane.
Now take a minute of silence and honor Michael.
Close every pack for me, go collect wood for me, clean up the tent site for the use sheet away.
Fill up the pot for me, HC and cheese, Katie. Go hang the food pack and then sleep outside.
If the scat is important, he will ask, will we trip or die? But if a bear charges us, I will be fine. Suck all the bread for me, purified water please. set up the rain fly, make the dishes go.
And campers don't mind, 'cause trip food's divine. For we counter
Fire bands,
with Coleman stoves.
close every pack for me, go collect wood for me, clean out the kaibo with your own toothbrush.
Remember your nickname instead of your name.
Forget all about lunch and paddle away.
Scats do not matter, they're not even trippers.
Bonfield to Dixon and then FMA.
If the scat
It's important, he will ask, will we trip or die? But if a bear charges us, I will be fine.
carry my boat for me.
Now double back for me,
There are only 9 pre-mades.
and I always eat 2.
And we know you shall find
Birch bark and some pine, for we are hardcore, skin to the wind.
Brilliant.
It is always better to work with nature rather than against it.
Unveiling Michael's tribute tonight and tying into our summer possibilities just makes us realize how precious life is. You never know what tomorrow may bring, so take advantage of every single minute, especially here. Okay? That was the challenge we gave you last night, and I hope you'll think about that every day.